Welcome to episode number 22 of the Luebbers journey. Today I'm going to talk about understanding people, even when you disagree with them. And so one of my good friends is visiting me over this coming week, and we had a really fascinating discussion earlier today about disagreeing with people, particularly when people have radically different viewpoints than you, or even when they're not radical, even when you have points of contention with people. It's really easy to view the person as just either less than you, or even inhuman, or there's just something wrong with them. They just don't get it, and belittle them and sort of forget about their humanity and their human experience as well. And we talked about the idea of, even if you think somebody is completely wrong, even if you know that they're wrong, if it's something that can be backed up by data, if you actually know that they're wrong, it's still worth digging in and asking yourself, well, what life experiences cause them to think this? Regardless of whether they're right or wrong, if we just set that aside for a moment, what experiences, what did they go through in their life that caused them to think and to believe this? And this doesn't mean that you'll change your mind because of it. It doesn't mean that you'll change their mind because of it. But it'll probably mean, it certainly means for me, that you change your approach to one of much greater empathy. And this is something I've certainly done at times in my past, is when I'm trying to do something very specific, and when other people aren't trying to do that, or for example when I'm working hard to pursue a goal, and I see people who are being lazy or procrastinating. It's easy for me to sort of put them into boxes, and by doing so overlook the nuance of their particular situation and the actual human experience behind it. And I think this is natural. I think it's completely human. And yet I think so many problems, so many arguments are created. Certainly this has been the case in my own life, where so many of my arguments have not really been about who's right, in the sense of, if one of us had been definitively proven right, it actually would have made things worse. One person would have felt really resentful. The other person would have felt, maybe a little bit upset or shameful, just for being right. That happens. And when I've been able to successfully, resolve arguments, or even avoid getting into them in the first place, or approach them in a really wonderful sort of constructive way, rather than making it an emotional fist fight. When I've been able to do this, it's always because I'm in touch with the humanity of the other person, and the idea that, while they might disagree about this, in fact, they might disagree with a lot, we actually probably, at the end of the day, have more in common than we realize. And we could benefit massively from understanding the emotional journey that took somebody to a certain mindset or a certain belief. Regardless of whether it's right or wrong, there's a ton of value to be had in understanding why people think the things that they do, and why they act the way that they do, and what life experiences they had that allowed them to do that. That's the thought for today. Something that I'm going to try to do more and more, because I think it's really important. And yeah, the more I think about it, the more I think it's just incredibly important to remind yourself of the humanity and the human experiences that people go through, even if you disagree with them on a particular issue.